Okay, I'll have to figure it out.
So they're on the wrong sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they signed it.
Oh, and you're right, yeah.
They're on the wrong sheet.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so they gotta switch.
Is this looks like these three? What the hell that is? Where did he go to the matrix?
Are you getting that sun in your face?
No, I'll get it in a few minutes. It's moving that way.
Do we need to send out a search party
For who?
for him? For Brian.
How did we lose Brian?
I don't know. Should we start?
Yeah, I would start.
Okay, we're going to start while we wait for Councilman Donahue. So welcome, everybody, to the regular town board meeting of June 14th, 2022. Mr. Town Clerk, roll call.
Councilperson Tom Dimmy.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Vittori.
Here.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Over there.
Yell here, Brian.
Supervisor Teresa Kent.
Here. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Donahue, we'll let you lead on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a couple of announcements. First, the town board would like to wish Esther Baitler a happy 66th birthday on June 21st. Esther's not here with us, but we know she's watching at home. The Cam Shanks is now open every weekend until August 28th from 12 to 4. But please note it will be closed on July 2nd and 3rd in observance of Independence Day. And we just want to thank the Commander John Gray. For those who don't know, we always have volunteers, and our last volunteers retired, so we have new veterans groups that are volunteering to help us with running Camp Shanks. So we thank them very much. The public hearing on amending Chapter 43 in the Town Code to address zoning in the hamlet of South Nyack has been continued to June 28th. And the Comprehensive Plan Committee public hearing on the comp plan has been adjourned to August 2nd. So for anybody who was here at the last meetings with our dates. Okay. Let's see, do we have to start our public, do we have a public hearing that we have to, should we open it now? We're late. Yeah, well, we'll jump there because we do have a public hearing. We try to keep it close to the time. So it's agenda number 3, continue public hearing from the regular town board meeting of June 14th. The proposed zone change for Gatto Lane's property, Toll Brothers. Can I get a motion to open?
Motion.
I think Tom said it first. Jerry second. No, I'm sorry, it was Brian. Just heard a voice of it. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to continue the public hearing. Now, we did have a sign-in sheet. Do you want to let the applicant go first? We'll let the applicant go first. I think they signed the whole sheet. Well, we'll give everybody a chance. So if you didn't sign in, don't worry about it.
We're ready.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
We're waiting for you to set up over there. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Town Council, staff. My name is Lino Sciaretta, partner with the law firm of Blakely, Platt & Schmidt on behalf of Toll Brothers. With me this evening from Toll Brothers, we have Kevin Moses, who's here, also Rob Dowd, and my colleagues also from Blakely, Dan Fix, and Brian Quinn. First of all, Madam Supervisor, thank you for having us this evening and for continuing this public hearing. This is a continued public hearing for the proposed PAC zone amendment, an overlay for Gatto Lane. And just a quick background, we were last here, I believe it was May 24th. I was not, but my colleague Dan did cover for me, so thank you, sir. We did have some supplements that we made to the record on this, so I just want to note that for the record, back on June 1st, there were 3 submissions that we made. The first was we reduced the size of the units from 40 to 38 and submitted a new concept plan for your consideration. Also, we also put in writing from Brook Engineering, Ken DeGennaro, on June 1st, responses to the county GML letter. That's also in the record. And then lastly, what we submitted were written responses to various comments that we received from the public. Those have all been submitted to your board and are in the record this evening. Just a couple of things that I'd like to highlight. Again, we have reduced the unit count here from 40 to 38. With respect to this plan that you have up here on the screen, Madam Supervisor and members of the board, we added some passive recreational features on the plan. And also tonight, what I'm going to hand out, we have, and I'll show you, a proposed floor plan that because these are going to be 38 two-bedroom units. So I have a proposed floor plan. Again, these are conceptual only because we're not the site plan phase. Obviously, we have to get this, hopefully, the zoning first. But what I'll hand out, and I'll do it right now, just copies of the floor plan, also a rendering of what this could potentially look like. And we borrowed from another project that Toll Brothers has done. So with your permission, Madam Supervisor, if I can approach and just hand some of these out.
I feel like a judge, you're asking permission to approach.
Old habits die hard. Thank you. So just a little word about the revised site plan. So basically, this particular version now will not require any front yard variance. The old site plan that we had that had the 40 units did require 2 variances for FAR and front yard. We've gotten rid of the front yard variance with this new layout. So that will require an FAR variance should we go through. Also, what I submitted to you, and I'll just highlight here, this next slide represents just a sample floor plan with respect to what these units could potentially look like. And you'll see the 2 bedrooms. Some of the space you'll see we added office because that is one item and amenity that has pretty much been asked for a lot these days is a home office, particularly what we've just been through with the pandemic. So a lot of folks are looking for an office space, but you'll see this is I don't want to say the plan, but just a conceptual of what a 2-bedroom with a loft and an office space would look like. So that's here, and it's the Hopkinton is the floor plan that we gave you. The other site here, I just want to show you another slide. Ken, if you can just show me where the rendering is. This one. This one. Yeah, do we have it on this? Yes, okay. So what's not on the slide, but I'll just show you. This is the architectural, the rendering. It's the last page of what I just handed to you. That's kind of what we're looking for. I mean, the top shows traditional, the bottom's a contemporary kind of look. Again, this is all conceptual, Madam Supervisor, because again, we are in the zoning phase. So again, we're here tonight to continue public hearing. I know you have a busy agenda, so we look forward to your additional comments from the board and also from the public, and we look forward to hearing additional comments this evening. But just to give you an update, again, we did provide comments to the public from the last meeting in writing. You have that. We also have the GML, and we submitted to you, again, sample floor plans and an architectural, what we look in terms of concept that we might consider for this particular project. So without further ado, again, your pleasure, Madam Supervisor. Any questions for us or the public? We'll sit back and listen at this point.
Okay, so the only question I have at this moment, I'm sure I'll have more, is, we have the offices and the lofts. Is there, and I don't know if this is appropriate in this setting, I don't know how it works, but is there a way for you to, tell us what the maximum size of these units would be?
At this point, no, but I can ask and see if I'll bring Mr. Dowd up. He could probably give you a better idea. So Rob Dowd from Toll Brothers will probably give you an answer to that question.
Okay.
Hello, Rob Dow with Toll Brothers, averaging about 2,200 square feet for the, those are the ends, and then the middle units will probably be around 1,900 square feet.
Yeah, on the plan, it shows 23 and 2,000.
Yeah, so they're kind of just averaging. This, tonight, when we got these plans, we basically took some of the plans that we had 3 bedrooms on and created the 2-bedroom home. So like some of them have like a closet and stuff like that, so this would be probably the average. I mean, they're pretty good floor plans, what buyers want. They got open kitchens, you have your dining room, you got a office on the first floor, you got your first floor master, and then you have an open loft up top with a secondary bedroom. Two-car front garages.
Anybody?
No, I had the same question.
Okay. Anybody? Anybody else got questions? You wanna?
No, let's hear from the public.
No?
No, wait till we hear from the public.
Okay. Okay, we're good for now. We'll hear from the public.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so we did actually have a sign-in sheet for this specific item. No one signed up on it. I'm guessing maybe people signed on the wrong list. So I'm going to call the names that, this is just, so when I call you, this part of the hearing is just on this particular application. So if I call you and you don't want to speak about this, you'll wait, there'll be another chance to speak. But for now, it's on this. You do have 5 minutes because it's a public hearing. The first person I have is Robert Arturi.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Here we are again. It's been going on for 2 years. I did not intend to go over all of the negatives that we see as the residents of Gatto Lane and of the town. However, I'm pleased to see that we now have 2 bedrooms and a loft and an office, which I'm sure could very easily and simply be converted to 4 bedrooms. I don't care what you say, it's 4 bedrooms possible, which goes completely against, I think, the premise of the entire building. But anyway, enough of that. Just a couple of things that go into my mind. Number one, as I said, we're here again. Nobody wants this. The planning board doesn't like it. The residents don't like it. The fire department doesn't like it. And oh, by the way, Chestnut Ridge ain't too happy about it either. So why are we doing this? Who's going to benefit from this? My question becomes, has anybody thought about the movement of electrical facilities and telephone facilities? There are poles on both sides of the street with exposed wires. You're going to widen that road? How are you going to do that? Again, not to talk about negatives, but this is not what this land was proposed for. 38, 40 homes, whatever you want to call it, okay? We don't like it. You know we don't like it. Why? It's not necessary. One person said at the last meeting, something has to go there. Why? It's supposed to be for homes, 1-acre homes. What's the big deal? I just don't understand.
Can I just interrupt you there, because that's, I think, the mistake. The property uses that a property owner could put there is not just homes. There's a whole chart of what the owner can build there as of
Okay.
right, okay?
All right.
So I think people think it's either this or nothing, or this or 1-acre zoning, and there are other things in our zoning code that they are allowed to do
Okay.
without asking this board for permission to do it. So
Well, thank you for that.
So we're clear on that.
Thank you for that. I don't want to take up too much time going over everything. I think that you understand the arguments against it. We hope we've convinced you in some way to understand where we're coming from. We're residents, we're voters. We'd like to see something, if something's got to go there, something that suits the land. But thank you for your time.
Thank you. Joan Johnson?
Madam Chair, sorry, can you just get addresses of speakers, so the record?
If they're,
Step up.
yeah, we just usually just ask for the town. We don't ask.
Thank you.
Joan Johnson, 26 Gato Lane, the last house in Ramapo. I'd like to bring to your attention Veterans Park. It was open to the public for a long time. No problem. Everybody in Orangetown went to it. All of a sudden, a religious organization started to hang out there, and it got regrouped and returned back to Orangetown only, and you have to have a pass to get in there. Now let's go over to Gato Lane. I have 5 houses from Highland to where the end of Ramapo is. I'm one of the houses. So far, 2 of the houses have left, and the same people who used to hang out at Veterans Park before the change are now my neighbors. And the guy on the corner now is planning on leaving because he's upset with all the new neighbors that are moving in. And the lady across the street from me says all they have to do is make her an offer. So what I'm trying to say is, since I was at the meeting in Ramapo, they oppose putting those there. So if they oppose putting houses there, do you honestly think they're going to give Toll Brothers approval to widen the street? They're not. And if they do that, you're back to the fire department problems, you're back to all the headaches and everything that goes on. If they build the houses there, you're assuming they're already going to be sold. Now, if you have people in Orangetown who won't even go outside and spend in the park and spend time with people of religious organization, do you honestly think they're going to spend $750,000 to have strollers be pushed down their streets and cars be parked on their street? It's very, very doubtful that that will even happen. You're doing a lot of assumption that Toll Brothers is going to sell it, and I can tell you right now, if they won't share a park with this religious organization, how are they going to share their backyards? My neighbor next to me now and my neighbor behind me now have moved in, and with that, other people in the neighborhood have left. They're peaceful, they're quiet, they don't bother me, I'm fine with them, I have no problem with that. But I can't see people, like I said, who wouldn't share.
Can we
an
please
open
just
space.
refer to the project itself, please, and not talking about?
It is the project I'm talking
Yeah.
about,
Well, you
because
talk
what I'm
about
trying to
Veterans
say
Park
is.
And about certain people, and it's not relevant to this discussion.
Yeah,
I'm
it
talking about
is,
the
because
project.
they're there now. They're the people living there in
Okay.
Ramapo,
Okay.
and that's who people in Orangetown are associating with. So they're not going to spend $750,000 on a house and have this group live next to them, and you know that as well as I do.
I think
There's already
I think your
4
comments are inappropriate, okay?
I'm
think
not
this is-
saying, I'm not being,
Okay.
I'm not doing anything against anybody. Like I said, I have them as neighbors, and I'm fine with them. But people have left the neighborhood because of that. And do you
Okay.
think that the
Please-
people
please-
from Orangetown are
Please
going
just
to move
finish
there?
your comments, please, thank you.
I don't believe they are. And you're going on the assumption that Toll Brothers is going to be able to sell these houses to people when there's going to have a nice religious organization living next door. They will not. And also, that district that's being built the kids aren't going to Pearl River, because last time you said, oh, it'll help on the school funds. Those will be going to Nanuet. They'll have nothing to do with it. So you're not saving anything. Last time you said that if they build, it'll be good for us getting the school taxes. That's Nanuet.
Yeah, but our children go to Nanuet schools. Orangetown children go to, a lot of our homeowners, children go to Nanuet schools in the Pearl River District, but I'm not gonna just, you
All
made
right,
your
maybe
point.
it's cross-reference that they go after each other. But like I said, I went to the Ramapo meeting. They're totally against this
Yeah.
being
Can
built.
I want to address that.
And
I just want to address the
Then they said
Chestnut
they were
Ridge, the Chestnut Ridge letter.
They said they
I
were go-
got a letter from Rockland County Planning about a year ago, talking about a project in Chestnut Ridge, which made this density look like it was nothing, where they said, the Rockland County Planning said to Chestnut Ridge, you should ask Orangetown what they think about this. By the time my attorney's office got in touch with them, they had already overrode all of the comments from the county. They didn't care what Orangetown had to say about that project. So with all due respect, I don't care what they say about the project.
So why'd you send them a letter and ask them for their approval
We're
then?
legally required, not approval, not approval.
Their
Be very
input.
clear about
Their
that.
input.
Not approval.
They're against it. They're
I
totally
don't
against
care.
it.
You know, I gotta say something.
And they're
I could care
also-
less what Ramapo
Ramapo.
is for and against. I could care less.
That's, well, you know what? I'm in Ramapo, and you're going to disrupt my front yard by, if you think you're going to get this approval, and you're not. You're not going to get Ramapo to approve it from 21 feet to 43 feet. That's utterly ridiculous, and you know that. And you wouldn't let that happen in your front yard. I will literally lose half of my front yard because if they want to build this, and they don't care, they're gone. It goes to, goes to a broker, it's gone. They're gone, they don't care. The road they're putting in from Grotke, do the research on that. That can't be legal. And you're not going to get a fire truck in there. And if we don't widen the road, what does the fire... stop shaking your head at me. I'm a person who I'm trying to get my privacy and keeping my livelihood and everything good. I mean, you're like standing there and acting like what I say doesn't matter. You're talking about disrupting my whole freaking life because of this. This doesn't have to be built there. You've got all this stuff you built on Orangeburg Road, but you're worried about taking away beautiful 10 acres to put this crap up? And you know it's hideous. I mean, why would you even entertain the idea of it? That's what's aggravating me. And like I said, they're not going to widen the road, so everything that they say they're going to do won't be able to do because the road isn't widened. Yes, I know I got 5 seconds. But I'm totally against it, and you should be too.
Just to point out, the town doesn't develop private property in the town. Developers come to us, private citizens come to us, a lot of people come to us with ideas. We consider them, we have public hearings. We're not the ones who propose this, but we have a public hearing so they can present it and we can get input from the residents of Orangetown. That's what we're doing right now. No decision has been made. We didn't put this proposal together. It's been proposed by the owner of the property and a developer who wants to develop the property, and that's why we're here tonight. We don't assume anything. No one on this board has made a decision one way or the other.
Nadia Martinez? I'm sorry? You're good, okay. Okay, so I don't believe the next person signed up for this. Leslie Labourel? No, you're for the regular section, okay. And Tom, I'm going to presume you're for the next thing, too. You don't want to speak on this, right? Okay. So is there anybody else here that wants to speak?
Hi, sorry I was late. Jen Falzone, and I live on Gatto Lane. So I'm not sure what changes they made. I know they mentioned they have office space, loft space. Once again, to me, for someone to come to a town board, they really should have their story straight. They've never been consistent with plans, with how much things were going to cost. So if they can't get it straight now, I'm pretty sure whatever they put in front of you, they're going to change later. They haven't had anything consistent. From 3 bedrooms, from 40 to down to well, you asked for the 38 because that was your request. But even coming up here, you asked for square footage, and they couldn't get that right. So I don't have the confidence that whatever they plan to do is going to be by the book. I think they're coming in here, and they're going to make some swift changes under your nose without any extra approvals. And I know you made a little eye contact when I said that, but I really don't think that they're going to do what they're saying. I'm not against the land being sold. I think he has every right to sell this property. It's his property. But what I am against is the number of apartment complexes, whatever you want to call them, because of the surrounding area. Not because where I live, but because turning on that road is very hard to make a turn. Making a left off that road is very hard to make a left because it's a main street off this little block. Now you're going to add another 40 cars. We only have one way in, one way out. Many, many years ago, when I moved in, I was told that there was a huge storm, a tree fell, and we had no way to get off Gatto Lane. that's kind of scary. You know, people have kids, people are having babies, they have them, pregnancies, little kids. If they have to get off Gatto Lane, we have no other way. And had I known that there's no other escape route, I probably wouldn't purchased on Gatto Lane. But now you're going to put even more density on a block, so there can be other, you know, issues with that. Especially with the construction, I can't imagine that this isn't going to be blocked for us at some point where we're going to have no escape. Like I said, I'm not against them selling the property. He has every right to do whatever he wants to do with it. I'm just against the number. If we can come down a little bit, so, I mean, we're speaking, we come to every meeting, we're leaving our families. Every single time I come here, I can't put my own kid to bed because I want to make sure that you hear what the residents are saying. Also, I also went to the Chestnut Ridge meeting because I wasn't sure if they were voting on something and I wanted to give my opinion. They didn't. I know they wrote a letter, and I know everything is open to interpretation, and you guys can take it and read it and do whatever you please with it. But I hope you hear us loud, and we love the community. We don't care what's there. We just don't want that many. You want to build 20? Go ahead, but that's just a lot. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else on, gentleman right here on the left?
Randolph F. Johnson, Gatto Lane, Pearl River, New York. Supervisor, you had some of a cavalier attitude at the last meeting, that Mr. Lane bought the property, he can develop what he wants, which is fine. Mr. Lane bought the property knowing the limitations and the acreage.
No, just so we're clear, my issue is not that that there seems to be, under our town code right now, there's multiple things that could be done there.
Yes.
Without him coming.
Your
here.
exact words were,
Okay.
if it's not built there, it's going to be somewhere else. He bought the property, the limitations, he can't develop it. He tried to have his former lawyer get things done, he can't, so sell to the Toll Brothers. It's residential zoning. You had like a cavalier attitude. You've invited up there to look at the property. Have you ever taken any residents up on it?
I have been up to that property.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I
you
have.
know that.
I have.
And everybody said, in your presence, it's like putting 10 gallons in a 5-gallon pail. Nothing wrong with developing it. It was zoned for a certain way to be developed. But there's no profit to be made in that. So, you know, everybody stated a lot of the things. There's no access on that road, again. Ramapo, Chestnut Ridge, you don't care what happens there, I know. You know, but you have to come through there to get to Gatto Lane in Orangetown. So, it just doesn't fit. That's
Thank you.
it, thank you.
The gentleman with his hand up?
My name is Vincent Kissel. I live on Gatto Lane, 139 Gatto Lane. And I know a lot about this property and the properties around it. Years ago, land was stolen from me by the developers of Tri-Town Estate. And so I did a lot of research about it. And you'll notice up here, there's a little triangular area there from Tri-Town to the properties that Toll Brothers is now trying to develop. That's because the true boundary is the line further north. That's where my line, if you continued that line, you'd see my property sticks out, and everybody else on Meadowlark Village is the name of my property development. My property sticks out 10 feet, goes down 125 feet by another 8.5 feet. So I go back, everybody else is the other lines. So this line shows you the true property line and what they're accepting. And when that line was moved, ever notice Gatto Lane down here? Everybody who comes here knows that it sweeps at Orangetown, it goes from one direction, it goes south and comes in. Why? Why does that happen? Because the land was moved 21 feet by Ledley Labs in 1933. But Ledley Labs didn't care because at that time it was all woods. Who cares? All right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the bottom line is that's neither what the most important thing. I would like you to make the land proper, your boundaries consistent with what the original historic boundary was. And in fact, I spoke to the original surveyors for this property, And that's why that line is there, because I showed them the historic documents of, which I have here, showing where the actual Blauvelt line was. And if you notice, if people who came here from Toll Brothers, you'll notice that your western boundary is 1,005 feet. Your eastern boundary is 983 feet. Why? Because the properties were changed after I told them that there was a mistake here. See this access road here? This access road coming from, well, that's not Rocky, that's Highland Avenue, actually. Highland Avenue comes in, Rocky comes down this way. But Highland Avenue comes in. Blauvelt owned all this land and owned that road. And there was a piece 62 by 50, which they're going to show that access road. That was intended to be the access to this property. John J. Greenlee bought that property in 1907 from Blauvelt. But that property was 10 acres at one time, now it's 9.5. But this road was meant to be the access for Vreeland. Now, I shouldn't say road, that 62 by 50 piece right up here, that was supposed to be access to his 10-acre lot here. All right? So I think that there shouldn't be an access, maybe. This should be an actual road. You'll actually see there's a road that continues here. This was a road historically. It was never paved, but it was a road. So to make that just a maybe access road is not a good idea. It has to be a complete, full road. That's what's intended to be. It was intended to get to that property in the first place, Orangetown to Orangetown. I have a question for you. Do you know the footage of the dimensions of the Ramapo portion of Gather Lane? 42 feet, right? 42 feet. So when the person was worried about her property being taken, that can't happen. Oh, by the way, did they buy, did Ed
Could you,
Lane
sir,
buy-
could you just, would you mind just addressing where the board, then,
Did
thank you.
Ed Lane buy or get the access road? Because that went with the property to Letterly. The access road in the deed in 1949, Letterly not only bought that 10-acre plot, but also bought or got the Gatto Lane 42 feet by 537 feet from the road in Roundabout. That's 42 feet. So the person who's worried about them widening the road, they can't. It's 42 feet. You have a 21 feet travel way, and then there's extra footage on either side. But your property boundaries, your boundary lines are not at the pavement. It's beyond that. It's 42 feet. So don't worry about it becoming 50 feet. Now, the other Gatto Lane in Orangetown was put there by Breland again. He gave the right of way. That's 50 feet. So it's 42 feet in Roundabout. It's 50 feet in Orangetown. So what I'm worried about, though, is you're not going to get 42 feet. They don't have the property rights. They would have to purchase it from Mr. Johnson and whoever else is in Ramapo.
Thank you, sir.
So I really make sure that that road coming in from Grotke, from Highland, is a true road, not an emergency road. And I know my time is up, but one other thing. When Meadowlark Village, my property, was developed, they put an emergency road in there. Gatto Lane people, you probably don't know this, but there is an emergency road. You know what it is? Grass and trees now. There's a metal
Okay, sir, I'm going to
barrier.
have to, we have,
So I'm just worried
okay.
that if you think the emergency road is just for emergencies, the emergency road that we had in 1973 doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Is there anybody else here that hasn't had a chance to speak? I don't know. That hasn't had a chance to speak, that would like to speak on this particular matter? The gentleman in the back. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vanessa, you go first, he'll go next. Yeah.
I'll be just a minute. Vanessa Lappins, Coupon Hamlets of Orangetown. I'm requesting that the backup that we spoke about tonight, including that floor plan, be posted. And the backup that was posted for tonight, all the stuff isn't there. So if we could
Right,
get that.
we just
point
got
to
it.
point. Yeah, that's all. I'm just asking if you guys
Yep.
could publish that so we could see it. That would be great.
Sure.
Thank you.
The gentleman in the back?
My name is Tom Gavigan, but I live on Laurel Road. The country is upside down because we're not sticking to the laws. When he purchased this property, I believe it was 8 acres, one house per acre. We don't know the sewer system here. We don't know if the grid could even hold. Would be a tremendous amount of work. We open up and all of a sudden say, wow, this sewer system will never hold. We're going to add months on to get new. Don't worry about it. Fill up your bathtub. You know what I mean? It doesn't going to work, can't work. We're senior citizens. Every day we're worrying about our house. What happens if they start building that? And the people just can't take it no more with the construction trucks. You can sell your house, don't go in there. That's a nightmare in there. You're crazy. Your price of your house is going to fall down. If you have the 8 houses, it puts value there because they got to be over $1 million. And there's one thing, we're all senior citizens. We can't have this every 4 or 5 years. We're at the end of the road. And there's a pursuit of happiness. This is not our pursuit of happiness. Every year having to worry about, can I sell this house? What's going to happen? I won't be able to get out. Yesterday I was going to the doctor's and I come down Laurel Road and the cars were coming at 7 in the morning, backed up. I don't have the patience. I'm waiting. I decided to go. I almost got killed with a truck doing about 55 up. He didn't just hit his brakes. I was finished because I wanted to get over. I had to go over the other bridge. So let's do the right thing. We would welcome the 8 houses. But this is going to be a nightmare with construction trucks coming and going. That's not our pursuit of happiness. We must take care of the senior citizens. And I want to thank every one of you for giving up your time from your families to come and sit here and hear all this stuff. I really appreciate it, and all of us appreciate your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
The woman with her hand up, yep. Does local road go out on? Doesn't local road go out on Crooked Road?
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I'm Jane Myron and I live at 133 Gatto Lane and I've lived there for 45 years. One thing that I would have suggested to the gentleman from Toll Brothers is that if he had a new site plan and he has layout of the townhouses and he wants everybody to know what they're doing, they should distribute it to the public here tonight. Not just to you guys, because this affects us as well. So they should have given out copies of that, and that would pertain to all town hall meetings. That if someone is going to do that, you should be providing that information to the public so we could consider it as well. Secondly, I want to point out that the property south of Gatto Lane, currently all woods, is still owned by Pfizer. And any day, you know they're going to sell that too. And what's going to happen then, as the gentleman from Laurel Road says, there's going to be more houses in there, again affecting all of our properties. So that's something. Sorry, that has to come off for the moment. That has to be done as well. Sorry, I get nervous doing this. It's something that one of the other gentlemen brought up before is that when the Gatto Lane got closed because of that one tree that fell, there was a fire truck stuck on Gatto Lane. And it took a whole day for them to wait until guys came to saw up the tree and then take it away, and then we finally were able to get out. One time we had to actually climb over the trees to go to someone else's house in Chestnut Ridge, by the way, to stay over because we couldn't survive in our own houses then. We had no power and it was really a mess. One other thing that I worry about is I don't love the fact of 38 townhomes coming in there, but it could be the lesser of two evils, because something else could come in that we would not want at all. So, and Mr. Lane has been waiting a long time to be able to develop that property, and it is his right to do so. So I thank you for listening,
Thank you.
and I'm going to go
Thank
back
you.
and calm down.
Okay, anybody else who has not had a chance to speak on this matter want to, Eileen?
Good evening, members of the board. As usual, I never know where to start or begin. But anyway, I'm looking at the plan here, and it's not very symmetrical. You have 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. The next row is 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 4, 1, 3. So, as looking at that, I find that very disconcerting and not very symmetrical. Maybe that's where my brain works. But anyway, no, I usually have a brain that keeps going, going, going. But anyway, you see at the bottom row, you have 3, and then you have a dark space, and it branches off. Can you tell me what, when the time is right, what that means, and what is the space between each one of those, I'm going to call them pods, for the sake of argument, okay? I also, leading off with these questions, I wanted to know if the property has been sold to the Toll Brothers, and if the zone change is granted, will other variances be required? If a traffic study has been done at hours when the traffic is realistic, not on a holiday, and if the zone change is granted, will they provide a long SEQA form to fill it out, the long one, as opposed to a short one? Okay, so now getting back to page 1. This is so-called senior housing, $800,000 to $900,000. The economy today is not doing as good as it did under the other president that we had. So anyway, if the zone change is granted from R40 to R15, even though I live in Palisades, this zone change will not affect me. But I have always believed that any zone change should be in harmony with the abutting zones. And the people now live in an R40 zone, and they fought for that years ago.
No, they're in R15.
They're in R15, I'm sorry, thank you. They're in R15. And I think they would be very happy if that zone became R15. So tonight, all the residents who have come, they're not in favor of this. And I think your obligation is to them, not to a developer who, when he bought the property, he knew what he was buying. If you decide to change the zone, you have to find positive results for this change. The comments from the community are very, very important. Not the request made by Mr. Lane, who, as I said before, bought the property knowing full well what the zone was. Under the R15, he can build single-family homes, which would be in harmony. And that word is very important when you make a zone change, from my past experience with zone changes in the town. Harmony is important. It has to blend in with the community that exists. Now, the people that have lived in that area have lived there from 2 to 35 years, from listening to them speak. If you decide to make the zone change tonight, I think you have an obligation to read out the entire comments from the Rockland County Planning Board, what they have said. The zone change has to be a majority plus 1, what I understand. So you have to have a majority plus 1 to grant this zone change. If not, you can be taken into court. If you do it without a majority plus 1. I talked about the economy. The economy is bad. Everything is going downhill. Property is not selling as it did sell, and I think seniors $800,000 to $900,000. I'm tired of this cookie-cutter plan. Everywhere I go that I look at decorating, I see the same cookie-cutter plan, that the loft, and the main floor is the same, the upstairs is the same. There's no new interest. It's always the same. In one development in Old Japan, even the kitchen cabinets, everything is the same. It's like going into a Lowe's or something and say, give me 50 of those cabinets, 25 toilets, 25 sinks, the same old thing. Single-family home brings in different designs, different characters to a home. it's more beneficial. This zone change is not in harmony with the abutting neighbors, and that is very important. Even in the book, in our zone books, it says, zone changes must be in harmony with the abutting neighbors. This is not appropriate. It is so out of scale and out of sync that I would not want to be in the third one, kind of looking back at the 4-1. It wouldn't make sense to me. But thank you.
Yes, right, yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Britton Mitchell, and I live at 137 Grocki Road, which is the next to the last house before the borderline between Ramapo and you. And I'm really sorry that there's this tension between families in Ramapo, but I'm here because this reference to building an auxiliary road to exit on Grotke does affect me. And I'm also concerned about security. You know, I had someone who trespassed on my property a couple of months ago, and now to think about the fact that there'll be a road there that's, I'm not clear if it's going to be auxiliary or there's a decision now that it's going to become a regular road. It's going to have a substantial impact for my family and my privacy, because that means I not only will have to deal with cars going maybe on 2 lanes, I don't know how they're going to do that, but also there'll be pedestrians, which I understand. So, you know, when we moved in 1996 to that area, we were so happy that it was residential. You know, I'm not always happy about the deer eating my plants, but the bottom line is that, you know, this is America. And a capitalist system says that private property is private property, but you took all this time to put zoning regulations in, and I think if you're going to change it and set a precedent for changes in not only Orangetown, but also in Rockland County and maybe Ramapo, that we should do it thoughtfully. So I'm not opposed to development. I just think that so far I'm not convinced that this plan is in harmony with what I've experienced since 1996. So I'm hoping that you'll consider a zone that would maybe go back to the 1.7 acres per unit, you know, maybe half of that number, or even consider allowing senior citizens to enjoy the auxiliary activities like walking paths or services next to a hamlet, as has been specified in some of the documents. So far, this is so revolutionary to everything that you've done so far. So if you're going to make that change, I just hope it's thoughtful. And I'm just speaking for the record. I know they'll do what they want to do, but I just want you to know that I, as a resident of 137 Grocki Road, who will be abutting the road, you know, you'll be right on my border, that I am concerned that they'll do it thoughtfully, and that my no trespassing sign will be obvious to everyone, and that we will still be able to feel safe, you know, because thank God I have resources that if I have to move, I will. So, you know, whatever you do, I just want you to know for the record how I feel about it, okay?
Thank you, thank you. Okay, is there anybody else who wants to speak? I see a hand back there popped up.
My name is Helen Allen. I'm at 170 Gatto Lane. My concern is this. You say you're building this property, these townhomes for senior citizens. Why do senior citizens need 4 bedrooms? If these don't sell to 2 people, what's going to happen? Are you going to now then sell to anybody who wants to move in, and you're going to end up with 2 people and 6 kids, or 2 people?
I'm sorry, can you just
I'm
address
sorry.
the board? And just for the record, this is 55 and older, so.
But how does that, Ms. Kenny, how does that stop, is what I'm saying. Let's say they don't sell. Senior citizens at this day and age are not going to move into 4 bedrooms. They're not, or 3 bedrooms and an office. 2 people don't need that kind of space. So I want to know.
Well, I personally agree with you. I will not need that much space.
Right.
If you go down the road here to the Hollows, there are lots of over 55
There may
people
be.
in a lot of
But
space.
people near Gatto Lane are not going to spend that kind of money, not in the situation that we're in now. the area is not
Right,
calling.
but I mean,
for-
just to your question, there is a legal way to make, it is a restrictive covenant against the property. There's a condo association that has it.
Okay.
If someone violates the rules, it's it's
So what I'm
extreme-
asking is, what happens if they don't sell? What happens? What happens to that covenant if they don't sell? Do they stay empty?
It stays in place. I've
And
never,
that's something we
well,
have to
I
think
was a real
about.
estate attorney for 30 years, and the situation you're giving me should be on a law exam, because I don't know the answer. I've never had it,
Well,
but yeah.
That's my concern. The other concern I have, of course, is what everybody's been talking about, is the road. When I come out of Gatto Lane, if there is a landscaping truck or a FedEx truck or whatever, I cannot make that turn. I must wait. I must wait until a big truck passes. And again, the same thing happened during the storm. There was a tree again that fell, and there was a fire truck on Upper Gatto Lane, and they could not get out for a few days. It wasn't one day. So we definitely have to think about those things before we build 40 homes or 38 homes. I have no problem with developing the land. He can do whatever he likes, but not 38 houses. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who hasn't had a chance to speak that wants to speak? I think not gonna be anybody left pretty soon, so we'll be covered.
Hello, Liz Dudley, Orangeburg. I just wanted to share that as we take this project and we think about changing the zoning, that we know that this will set a precedent to every single project that goes forward in our town, and statewide even, I don't even know. I have sat in a lot of town zoning board and planning board meetings, and it surprises me how many times the lawyers come and speak up and talk about the precedent that's been set in our town and threaten legal action. And that's worrisome to me. I hope that this project, if it is allowed to move forward, that it has, does the environmental long form. I think it needs to have the long form. And then just in general, how do we measure the success of a project or a failure? We're starting to have serious flooding issues all over our town. And I think that we need to start contemplating long-term solutions for projects of this size, and measure how they impact the rest of the town, especially with flooding. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to speak on this?
Just one comment. You're blessed with my presence, but this reminds you of what I fled from Staten Island 30 years ago. This is
Okay, you either need to stand up to the, okay, thank you.
just a quick, I'm here in Rockland County because.
Name and town.
Hello? My name is Tom Shea from Spark Hill. This is why I moved to Rockland County. This looks exactly like Staten Island that I fled 30 years ago. This tight house against house, and most people moved up here to flee that, and that's what it looks like to me. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, oh no, I called on her, right? She didn't speak for anything, did she?
Hi, my name's Nadia Martinez. I live at 127 Gatto Lane. My comments are purely selfish, like the gentleman just before me. I moved from the west side of Manhattan to find Gatto Lane, a nice cul-de-sac with just one-family homes where I would feel a lot of space and enjoy my senior years. I did not move to Gatto Lane to have 38 or 40 units in my backyard. It's unfair. You invest your savings in a piece of property after you've worked all your life so that you can enjoy it, and this has been your dream, and now it's like, because someone wants to make a profit, it doesn't make any sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else who has not had a chance to speak that wants to speak? Okay, then on that note, oh, go ahead.
Good evening. Hi, my name is John Kusumalem. I was not prepared to talk, but I'm a newcomer to that neighborhood. I live on 4 Bridal Lane. I've been there for 2 months. It's a beautiful place, and this property is just behind me. And hearing about this, actually, my profession, I'm a social worker. My concern was that the only thing is that, did we do any feasibility study of the need for this 40 homes for this high price? That was one thing. And also another thing, we also have on Duria Lane, when I pass, there's a new senior citizens place that we developed. Is that full? I mean, did we check on those things? I'm just, I was just raising some of the concerns that I had. Another thing is that when I moved in my previous home, I never had to deal with the sump pump and the water issue, and I was told that, your house is on a water plate, so my sump pump was running all month. The first thing that I was advised was that, you better to have an all-house generator very soon, because traditionally my neighbors said, when we lose the power, we are the one who get the power last. So, that is one thing. When I did my inspection, what was that the radon gas level that was up, and I asked a few companies, what's the reason and why is it causing? How can it go up? They said nearby constructions and disturbing the property, that can definitely, damage, and it can, of course, there is a remedy that, you just have to do the mitigation system. Well, it's always very good. We welcome that. I definitely think that, we need housing for people, but, this is, to me, I think it looks like, really congested, and many other people said, what is the closest hospital for senior citizens? When we age up, we definitely need a medical assistance and stuff like that. And if a tree can block that property and ambulance to come to that place, that's also a different, I think, that's also a concern that we should address. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else want to speak? Otherwise, I'm going to ask the applicant or the attorneys to step up and, I guess, answer as many questions as you can.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Look, we appreciate the comments that we've heard tonight. We've been doing this a long time, and, we understand, and change is difficult, and we understand that, especially doing this as long as I've been doing it, as Brian has, we've been doing this. But just a couple of things I just want to point out, just some of the comments. I heard that, they want a long-form EAF. Well, we did submit that as part of this petition, so that was submitted in terms of the secret. So we did submit the long form. With respect to, the need for this, we also submitted a study as part of our petition, a market study that shows that this demographic, especially 55 and over, is not enough housing for it. And, when you go to Toll Brothers, and there were some comments about Toll Brothers, and I just, again, resent the fact that they're accusing us of trying to keep things hidden, but just, we've been doing this a long time, and Toll Brothers has been around for several decades. They've done work across this country, in the Lower Hudson Valley, and again, I know the board understands this, but just for the general public, it's a fluid thing. So with respect to the zoning, the property owner has a right, Toll Brothers has a right to go and request a zoning that's an overlay in your zoning code, to utilize it. So it's not that we're asking for anything that is out of character, because right to the east of it, to the right of that site plan, is an R15 zoning. So really what we're asking for is to make this zone an R15 so that we can utilize this PAC overlay. So, I resent any comments that we're trying to pull the wool over your eyes or do something inappropriate. We respond to comments that we receive from your board, from the public. We submitted those in writing with respect to the unit count. I know there was a comment at the last meeting to reduce it. We did reduce that. I know there was a comment about a floor plan. We presented that. So, again, we've done that. We've done what we've been asked to do, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. So we present this information. So, again, as this public hearing goes on, we've done that. So, again, to say that we're not doing the right thing here, again, we take exception to that. You know, with respect to what is being proposed here, I know this was stated at the last meeting and was stating in writing, but yes, as the Madam Supervisor said, there are many things that can go here, but when you look at even single-family development, for example, okay, it's a known fact that this is a cluster development, which means that we're preserving a 50-foot buffer around the entire site. You wouldn't get that if you were doing 9 or 10 homes here. You wouldn't get a buffer. There'd be more disturbance, more fill, more clear cutting for a traditional, what I'll call single-family development than you would this. So that's just a fact. So again, the comments about, I understand, you know, the concerns, and I understand what the public is saying, but again, I understand change is difficult, but, you know, we believe we've presented a responsible plan, and again, this is just a concept. You know, if this board decides to grant this particular zone change, we're going to have to go back to planning board. We're going to have to spend many hours in meetings at the public hearings before the planning board to get a site plan that the planning board will hopefully like and approve. So this is conceptual, and that's the whole point of a zone petition, right? We want to do a project that kind of looks like this, and that's what we're doing. Just with respect to some other comments, and we talked about the market study. Another comment from a member of the public was about Graki. The plan here is not to use that as a road. That's strictly for emergency access. I know there was a concern from one of the residents that that was going to be a road, but that's on the site. It's for emergency access only. That's what's being proposed. And lastly, again, with respect to the market study, there's a need for this type of housing. There's no question about that. So again, I appreciate your time this evening, and we look forward to continuing this dialogue. And again, if there's, you know, at your pleasure, at some point we'd like to have the public hearing closed, but I understand that there's other additional comments or information that you require of us. We'd be happy to provide that. So thank you. Thank you.
Anybody have questions? My question was really about the roads. Can you just kind of help us out with this?
I'm sorry.
The road, did he address it? Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, on Grotke, there was a comment on Grotke that was going to be a road that's strictly being, what we're proposing, strictly for emergency access, should it be utilized. So, and with respect to Gatto, there have been discussions. I know our engineer has spoken with, you know, your town highway, and our plan is to widen this Gatto Lane as part of this project, and I know that was looked favorably upon. Another comment I heard about the fire district and fire department saying that they oppose this. We have no record of the fire department or anyone in the record opposing this project, and I checked with our records. There's been nothing in writing to that effect. So I know there was a comment made tonight, but that's just not accurate. So again, what I said, Madam Supervisor, we're happy to entertain further questions. At some point, we would love to have the public hearing closed, but if there are other comments or concerns that you have, and I mentioned it before, we'll be happy to provide it, and, you know, in writing or otherwise. So again, thank you for your time tonight, and we look forward to continuing the discussion.
Okay, we're not going to take questions. No, that's not, I'm sorry, everyone had 5 minutes. No, we're not going to do this. I see 3 hands up, we're not going to do it. I'm sorry, so the town board's going to ask their questions now. No, we're not, I'm sorry, we can't. Okay, thank you. We're going to have to, just tell me how, when we, presuming, if this got approved, doesn't the planning board have, I'm sorry, the fire department have to weigh in on it?
Right. This is a conceptual site plan. So this is just for the board to decide whether it wishes to grant the zone change or not. If it does, it then goes to planning board for site-specific issues, such as that, the fire department. You know, this one has a little bit gotten into a little bit of site plan issues, but, you know, that's certainly something that could be asked of the applicant if they have that. He's indicating no, but again, this is conceptual. Many of the details really come out if this board approves the conceptual plan, and then goes to planning board for their comments on site-specific issues.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's part of this. I think, you know, if it was to go through, there's a whole planning board. This is just the first step. They have to go to planning board, right. And as the town attorney pointed out, this is a conceptual plan. You have planning board, you have ACABOR, you have, right. You know, I'm sorry, you need ZBA? Was there ZBA?
ZBA would, yes, for this particular plan, we would need it for FAR. But yes, so what I was saying earlier, we have to come back, assuming this zoning gets adopted, we'd have to go spend, a lot of time before the planning board, developing a site plan, public hearings. So again, this is, as you said, Madam Supervisor, strictly for the concept and the zoning.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question, I'm sorry I missed it already. You heard several people mention, and we've gotten emails, despite what you may think, of support for this project, but, you know, some of them said, can you make it less units? So, you know, I mean, if the town board was to come back and say, look, we could only do, and I'm totally making up a number here, but, you know, 32, is that something that, you know, the applicant says we're taking our marbles and going home?
Yeah, that 32 does not work from an economics perspective. So the economic scale don't work for this project, 32. Yeah. 38's the number.
Okay. Yeah, well, the board needs to know that, so
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, and we've also, I received several people who supported the plan, but every single one of them said less units. Every single one of them said you gotta make Gatto Lane, the end of it, much safer, because it's not safe, it hasn't been safe ever. And several people have asked that the secondary road be a road and not an emergency exit. I'm sorry, I'll put my mic on.
Yeah, that's, yeah, yeah.
No, you're right, you should have had. As the supervisor was alluding to, we've each received calls and emails from people who are in support. So there are people against and people in support. But the people in support did also have comments. It wasn't just I'm 100% in support. It was normally, can they do less units, maybe add some amenities, was the biggest. The second was, they got to make Gatto Lane safe. It's an extremely unsafe road as you enter in to Gatto Lane. It's very unsafe. And the third was, can you make the emergency access road a permanent road so that there's a way in and out from there directly into Orangetown?
Yeah, and to your point, Councilman Valentine, a lot of those issues, again, assuming we get past the zoning, those things will have looked at during the planning board and the site plan. And again, if the planning board is looking for that and that type of access, we're going to have to look at it, because we're going to have to do SECRA, we're going to have to submit another long form. We already submitted a long form from the zoning. We're going to have to do that and
I'm
discuss
just,
it.
not to interrupt you, but couldn't we, if there was something, for instance, could we make it a condition of the zone change?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this changing to a PAC is a little different than other zone changes, because the statute for the town, this was changed, specifically states that the board will approve, if it approves a conceptual plan, it goes to the planning board for a site plan approval. It then comes back to the town board to make sure that the plan that the planning board approved does not deviate substantially from what the town board originally approved. I understand what Mr. Charette is saying. It does seem like many of these issues, although ordinarily site plan issues, are of enough concern to this board to maybe address sooner than waiting until the site plan stage. But that's just my 2 cents.
And we're happy to do that, Councilman Valentine, members of the board. If that's something that you would require of us before site plan to address that, we would do that.
Okay, and one other question. Out of curiosity, since Gatto Lane is R15 already, I think the original plan that was here long before I was on the board with Mr. Lane was to make that piece R15. Do you know how many homes would be allowed on that property at R15? An approximate number or close number?
Hold on.
I think the number I heard was like 28 at one point, but.
It's actually, it's in the petition. We did that analysis in terms of what it would be for R15, R40. Again, I don't have the actual exhibits to petition, but it's in the petition before your board. I
I'd
believe
say
it's Exhibit F.
27, 28.
Yeah. Again, I don't have it, Councilman Dibny. But,
No, I'm just doing the math in my
Yeah.
head.
But it was, that
So it
analysis
seems
was
to me that
submitted.
that would have a lot more site disturbance, 27 single-family homes with
It would.
27 single driveways.
Again, the benefit of the PAC, just, and I know that the board's aware of it, but we're able to cluster this. So by clustering it, we're preserving a lot of the open space around in the buffer. So in your pack zone, it says we have to provide 50 feet of buffer around this site. You wouldn't have that for any other type of development, including just your conventional single-family subdivision.
Well, you have a 50-foot,
We're
have-
not
you have
gonna allow yelling at him, sorry, it's just, I'm sorry. Because he's the applicant, and everyone had 5 minutes. Yeah, as long as his board wants to speak to him, yes, they can.
so, there's a 50-foot buffer, but every one of these shows over 100 foot to the buildings. So there's 100 foot,
Correct.
all the property lines. No, I'm talking about the buildings now. You're right, I didn't look at you mean the road going out to Grotke?
Yes, no buffer, no 50 feet. The map is wrong, I want to
Maybe, yeah, maybe next time they could show that distance, because it doesn't show that distance, it's hard to judge.
All right, let's
What
stop
are we
this.
doing, continuing it?
Yep.
Okay, so unless anybody has any more questions for the applicant, we can,
No.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
What is to continue to,
It's up to the board. It sounds like the board wants more information before moving on it. I would suggest if you do, that you advise the applicant exactly what you want, and then it's, up or down at some point.
Yep.
yeah,
I don't think it's ready for up or down. I should say, I don't think it's ready, but I don't know if the board is ready for up or down. If it's not, and you want more, let them know, and then,
Yeah, there's a few things I'd like to send to the applicant, as well as if any of the public wants to send us comments, please do so.
here, or
So we can
questions?
address them, or questions, or... I'm trying now, I got the mic here and everything. I said if any
You're the
of...
last one that usually has a problem with that. You
Yeah,
got that big
I usually have a
voice.
big mouth, so I apologize.
Yes, you do, Megan.
If anybody has questions, comments, or concerns that they want to send us that we can pass on to the applicant to address, feel free. I mean, that's why we're keeping this open for so long. We're not just pushing it through. Again, the applicant is here just asking us if we would consider this, and that's why we're here asking you. It is somebody's property, he does have a right to develop something. He is asking for a zone change, which we can deny, but he's still allowed to build whatever he's allowed to in the existing zone. Do you have a list of what's allowed in that R40?
We do, but
It's on the website.
it's also,
I had it.
that's also
It's
in our
on the
petition.
website?
It's also in our petition. We have provided the bulk table and also the use
Yeah,
table.
it's in the bulk table.
It's in-
Okay.
But it's in our petition as well. But in terms of that, Councilman Valentine, if you can, I'll coordinate with the town attorney. If any comments the board has, I would just ask the town attorney to forward them to me so that we can address for the next meeting. Any comments?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
did you want to see something about what R15 would look like, or R22, or, yeah, I just want to get something productive, either to move forward or not,
Well, see, I don't think it would hurt the public to see what's allowed on that property, on the R15 zone, which is what they're
Yeah,
currently
R40.
zoned next to.
R40. It's R40 now.
It's R40 now, but the houses directly next to it
Are R15.
are R15.
Yep.
So I don't think it would, if he came in asking
They
for an R15.
wanted harmony, that would be
it
harmony, if that's what the
That
keyword
would
we're
be
going
in
with today is harmony.
Correct.
Yep.
So that's why I'm saying, it'd be nice to know what they would be allowed.
28.
I don't need a
Three-bedroom.
really intricate drawing, but just an idea.
So I'll make it easy, because what we actually did this exercise. We'll bring it at the next meeting just so you can see it. But when we did the outreach back, I think it was February of 2021, we had boards like this put up to show what looked like for an R40, what an R15 would look like, and then this project. And again, a little different version. But we presented those boards at the outreach, I believe it was at the Nights in Columbus when we did this. So those boards were there. But that very exhibit is in the petition that we submitted to your board back in December of 2021. But what I can do is, just so the board can see it again, we'll put those on a board and submit it for you for the next meeting so you can see, Councilman Valentine, what it looks like. But you do have it, it's in the record, it's in the petition. I think it's Exhibit E and F. It shows exactly what an R15 would look like, what an R40. So it is in there, but we'll bring it for the next meeting.
And put on a board
Yep.
what's permitted in R40.
Well,
I don't care if it's just in writing. What's permitted without ever having to come to us, that you don't need any approvals, you could just go ahead and build.
it's basically whatever's allowed.
I have it.
It's basically what's allowed in R80.
Correct.
Right, but then you do it already.
Yeah.
And that's the
Well, just,
schools and
Be nice to have it written or.
yep,
places of worship.
We'll do that.
all right. Why are we doing this?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so when do you want to put this, I'm
Yeah,
not
just-
here the next meeting.
Yeah, if the next, we'll just continue it to the next meeting, just so we know.
I'm not going to be here. That's okay. They can put it if they want to put it. We might have. Thank you. I know we talked about it. We might have at the,
All right, July 12th.
come on, town clerk, what are you doing down there? Do you have anything in your notes from the last meeting?
It's July 12th.
Thank you. We're going to move it to July 12th because this
July 12th.
remembers. Thank you. Because I knew I was going to be. Thank you very much.
July 12th.
Okay. Okay, so wait a minute, I jumped ahead. So I have to make, I guess, a motion to adjourn, to continue. I was going to say adjourn. Continue a public hearing to July 12th. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to continue the public hearing to July 12th.
Second.
I'll second.
Tom Beecher, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Why don't we
Okay.
shut this down?
Thank you very much. Good night.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to take a couple of minute break, and then we will come back.
Teresa, if you give me COVID, I'll kill you. Not- What do we? This is gonna be an interesting night. This is gonna be interesting.
We still got a friggin' workshop.
All right, let's do
Okay.
it. Where's Paul?
Okay, we gotta move on. Councilman Valentine, you're being paged. And I guess we're gonna need the doors closed.
I mean, it's not a long agenda, is it?
Okay, I'm ready.
Not really.
We done yet?
Okay, so we can
6.
workshop.
We start with 6. We only got 16.
Okay, so 6 is authorizing the candle agreement for $30,000. Jeff, what did we do from last year, do you remember? To 30 this year. It's the dwindling, whatever, okay. 7 is approving the the monthly rate increase pursuant to what the Sanitation Commission recommended, with the exception of making it effective July 1 of 2022. Well, I guess we'll get to Orient. Does anybody want? What's that? It's effective July. Just for the extent anybody's listening and cares, you could build quarterly, right? And so it seemed at this point to go back and do 1 month retro on a quarterly bill was just going to cause havoc. And my office gets calls. I mean, we're already going to get calls like crazy, but at least if it.
In the future, we have to speed up this process in 3 months.
And I appreciate that, but, sad to say, in government land, that's pretty fast. But you're right, it needs to be. But part of it just really is to give the residents notice, and, so we appreciate your understanding. Are you planning on sending letters out to?
No, we've never had before.
You never before?
There's no need. People
Okay.
call me before they call you.
Okay. Allison and Carmel, make sure we get something out on the Facebook page just to let people know, because we're gonna, I'm sure you know, but we get calls over everything, so they're gonna be right away. Number 8 is appoint T.P. Bailey to the chairperson of the Orangetown Parks and Rec Development Advisory Committee. 9, award the bid to Fairway Testing for SWIP compliance inspections and reporting for the new town hall addition. Just stop me. Thanks. Stop me if anybody has any questions. Number 10, appoint a hearing officer. This is related to an employee disciplinary matter. 11, approve New York State Consolidated Funding application. This is related to the Water Quality Improvement Program. All these things, the WQIP, for the MS4 vacuum truck replacement project. Clear as mud. Number 12, approve retainer agreement with Wilson Elser in the matter of Quinn versus the town. Number 13, settle a claim of Joseph Brown. This is regarding it was a car accident, right, Rob? Yeah. With their insurance company, right, subrogate or something like that. Number 14, approve, authorize the town attorney to sign settlement documents with Juniper Time. It's a tax grievance. 15, prohibits smoking in the town parks. This is to add the South Nyack Parks to our no smoking, young lungs at play signs. 16, authorize agreement with Greenfields Outdoor Fitness to upgrade the fitness equipment at Veterans Park. This was, we had gotten some grant money for that. Accept the retirement of Police Sergeant Schiller, effective June 18th. Approve school resource officer agreement with the South Orangetown Central School District for the 2022-2023 school year. Approve installation of a streetlight at the Omen parking lot exit on Old Orangeburg Road. Approve purchase and install security cameras for the indoor and outdoor locations under the control of DME. This was covered under grant money, I believe. Right? Grant money? Yeah. But basically recognizing that the town's, its critical infrastructure, this is steps to protect the town's property and their employees. 21, approve lend assistance to the 2022 Pearl River Oaks Club's Father's Day Road Race. Approve 2021 final budget line adjustments. There was an attachment to your agendas. Award natural gas supply contract to Marathon Energy for the amount reflected therein, and to pay vouchers. Okay, so now we get to go back.
Motion to open public
Motion
comment.
to open the public comment. Tom Divity, second. Jerry Vitari, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is Leslie Laboriel here still? Thank you. Thank you for your patience in sitting through that first hearing.
Today, excuse me, tonight I'm here to bring attention to hate and division in Orangetown, New York. I'm not here to merely complain. I suggest the town board work with community members to develop small conversation groups that focus on the tough topics. Let's focus on bias, hate, and exclusion, groups facilitated by professionals capable of moving tough conversations forward. There are many stories in Orangetown. I'm here only to share mine. My name may sound familiar to some of you because I sent you an email in November of 2020 titled, "Are We Safe?" I shared the emotions created when a white male drove by our home and called my family and me effing niggers. Almost 2 years later, and I still hurt as if it was yesterday. I have decided to make a public statement for 2 reasons. Silence doesn't create solutions, and normalizing behavior is not healthy for the next generation. Believe it or not, some positive came out of the experience. I had the opportunity to connect with an amazing Orangetown detective. Detective Myers was empathetic and highly professional. My kind neighbors were willing to share surveillance footage, confirming the car and the driveway of the person that made the racial slur. I don't expect any of you to understand the anguish I continue to feel in my soul caused by hate. But Madam Supervisor, I would like to take a minute to connect with you as a mom. 2 weeks ago, my 13-year-old son walked home from the park after playing with his friend. When he arrived home, he told me that a white woman stopped her car and stared at him as he walked in the neighborhood. He questioned, why did she do that? I didn't know how to answer that question. Honestly, it's not that I didn't know how. I didn't want to create an image in his mind that made him think that he didn't belong here. I know the feelings associated with the stares because I've experienced them. And my husband stopped taking walks after dinner because of the stares. Even though we have been living in this community for over 25 years, there are times when personal stories relay a message that we all can relate to. I want my son's life in Orangetown to be joyful. Madam Supervisor, I don't want to feel ashamed, embarrassed, and isolated anymore when I experience hate in our community. I no longer want to suppress these feelings. I respectfully ask that you and the board members use your power to foster change by considering the recommendations I have shared. Since Orangetown is rich in history, let's make new history by creating forums that no other town in Rockland County has attempted to create. Let's roll up our sleeves and do the work, do the tough work to create a better town for all residents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, and I do remember getting your email. Do you have a written statement you want to leave with us? Do you have a written statement you'd like to leave with us? Do you want to email it to me? Thank you, thank you. And you're okay with me sharing it publicly? Okay. Well, that's true. That's very true. You got me there. Thank you. That was very brave of you, and I look forward to speaking with you. Tom Shea.
Hello, my name is Tom Shea. I live in Spark Hill for 25 years. I want to thank board members Diviny and Pateri for realizing early there was something wrong with the Route 340 commuter parking lot project and voting no on its approval. I also want to thank board member Donahue for taking the time to come out and personally observe the flooding problems that that are getting progressively worse in Spark Hill Creek. On April 26th, this board voted 3-2 to approve a commuter parking lot on Route 340 based on information that was provided to you. That information was false. On April 12th, Highway Commissioner Dean conducted a presentation with 12-page slideshow. The bullet points Mr. Dean presented were full of inaccurate data, made-up surveys. I would need more than 3 minutes to cover them all. I would gladly sit down with all of you and show you the facts. Mr. Dean cited currently 50-plus commuters parking from all over Rockland, filling Spark Hill Depot lot and spilling into the community. His latest survey in early April had 31 commuters, with only 17 from Orangetown. This is total falsehood. I spent over 40 hours in the past 2 months studying Spark Hill lot. Only 4 9T coach buses come each weekday morning. The lot averaged four commuters a day. I talked to each one of them. On Friday, there's only 1 commuter parking there, 1. I talked to each one. I have their license plates. I talked to them. I know their names, you know, their opinions on the whole parking lot thing. So surveys were never done the way he said they were. I have their license plates, how often they commute. They're all from Orangetown. They all stated they would not utilize this new parking lot at around 340 if it was made. After I talked to these people, I'd go up at 9:30, I'd ride up to parking lot J at the mall. There's 654 free parking spots, and I count about 200 cars daily parked there. Then down to Palisades on Orangetown exit 5. There's a parking lot, it's 86 free spots available. There's about 40 cars parked there every day. We have over 740 free open parking spots within 5 miles of Spark Hill. We have a shortage of commuters, not parking spots. Mr. Dean said he saved $75,000 by designing this obscene-shaped parking lot with in-house engineers securing a lucrative transportation grant. This is because no outside engineer would put their names on this. I shared this design and location with engineers who are familiar with Spark Hill Creek and the flooding problems. Engineers from New York State DEC, Rockland County Drainage, SLR engineers who did the flood mitigation study. After they finished laughing about the ridiculous design of the parking lot, they all agreed it would be less risky and we would be better served if this was away from the Spark Hill Creek watershed. Another absolute falsehood cited the small and extremely biased Orangetown Commuter Task Force extensive search for locations, and the only solution was the John Perry American Legion Post ball field. Untrue. I can list 8 pre-existing underutilized parking lots on Route 303, Route 9, and Oak Tree Road. My neighbors and I voted for you because...
Mr. Shea, I'm sorry, but you can
Let
finish
me
your
wrap it up
sentence
2
with that.
seconds,
Okay.
right? My neighbors voted for you because you pledged to preserve Orangetown and be good stewards with our hard-earned tax dollars. After talking to hundreds of our neighbors, we believe the parking lot is destructive to our neighborhood and unnecessary waste of tax dollars. Please revisit your vote and stop this unnecessary parking lot and come talk to us. We have great ideas and input, and we could basically help you improve the safety and usability of Spark Hill Depot Square, benefit the American Legion, mitigate flooding, traffic problems. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
That's all that's signed up. Is there anybody else who wants to speak?
Hi, I'm Michelle Shea, his wife, 584 Route 340 in Spark Hill. So in addition to what he had just said, I spent many hours and many days in the recent time going down to the American Legion field, talking to parents about the safety issues also. I mean, my kids grew up playing at the Palisades baseball field. It's Little League. Having traffic go in and out there, if anyone shows up, is just a bad idea. They were unaware of this being this project to begin with. They've all signed petitions. I have hundreds of South Orangetown voters that are very against this parking lot. They're like, it's a safety issues for our kids. It's not good for the rest of all of our whole community down here on Route 340. So I'm just saying, please, try to understand where we're coming from, the parents and all the people that are at the Legion Field for the Little League. Like, please, reconsider this. It's not a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Dello. First, I wanted to thank the town board for their patience for listening to my somewhat choppy speech at town board meetings, particularly the meeting of May 10th. As some of you know, I sustained a traumatic brain injury from an undercover police activity gone awry, and my ability to retrieve words quickly, as well as my balance and my memory, were somewhat affected. But I wanted also to ask you to look beyond my poor speaking ability and to listen to the words I say, because they are important, well considered, and represent views of many others as well. And I also, second, I wanted to ask you, please read carefully the draft of the consultants have prepared regarding the comp plan, even though it is early in the process. I know it would cost taxpayers much less if the plan is done right in the first time they submit it, and the town will have to pay many less billable hours to have it redone. And if it is to be scrapped, the sooner the better, and maybe give them also clear guidance on what direction to go. And third, I wanted to say, you know, I heard about, you know, the money for the playgrounds and stuff, and playgrounds are nice, and turtles are nice. But I am baffled again regarding priorities for taxpayer dollars. I have come to the town board first, asking the town to please help protect frail and isolated seniors, just only by making it more accessible to them the information about where county and county-wide services would be by a little booklet that costs $6,000. And I'm continually puzzled why the town deems it appropriate to use town resources, town employees, and give substantial time to presentations on bridges across Western Highway for turtles so they can mate the way they want. When that becomes a higher priority than the isolated and frail seniors. I know myself, some seniors in the town have a lot of community and family and people they know around them. And that's a great support system, but not everybody is that fortunate. Some, the family is far away, some, you know, they're not part of a big group in the town. So I just want you to once again reconsider whether we can do a few things for very isolated seniors, and consider them as valuable as the turtles. And every time I come up here, think of turtles. Now, I mean, turtles are nice. I have nothing against turtles, but turtles shouldn't be more important than our seniors.
I've given a lot of certificates, but I've never given one to a turtle yet, so I don't, you know. Okay, thank you, Barbara, that was, okay. Liz?
Liz Dudley, 250 South Greenbush in Orangeburg. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak again tonight. I wanted to speak tonight regarding the town board, to the town board regarding the recent Board of Election in South Orangetown. I've heard time and time again, especially from this board, that you don't influence other boards. And we've all taken that and respected that. This last go around at the election, I saw things that I've never seen really come out during an election, which was endorsing candidates, using robocalls, engaging with a state legislator that doesn't even have a kid in our district. The Board of Education is a non-political appointment and a non-political board. When you go to vote for the Board of Election candidates, you'll notice that there's no political party over their names. That's the reason. This should not be a political appointment. I think that this was really divisive in our town. I think a lot of people took notice of this. I think that by demonizing different political parties, we're causing a greater divide in our town. And I think that we should do better. Find ways to bring each other to the middle and find real solutions and start conversations rather than creating more divides. I've been part of the school, I've been part of a lot of the town boards, and seeing how that went down, it was really concerning to me. So I just hope that we can do better and that we can not add politics into our schools. Thank you.
Anybody else wants to speak that hasn't?
Hi, my name is Nicole Lind, and I'm at 8 Chase Avenue in South Nyack, and I have never done this before, so but I really wanted to support something that was stated earlier. Actually, it was like excellent tonight, just watching everything happen at a town meeting, so I may be back. But but the topic at hand is that I moved to Nyack about 16 years ago from Brooklyn, and from there from California, and recently, as I saw the news and I saw this thing that happened to a basketball player at Nyack High School, and with the racial comments that were made. And, that was like really hard for me to watch because, having come from California and I played basketball, I was like, holy crap, I'm 54, that happened to me. I had names called at me while I was playing at a basketball game. And that's just like so horrible. Like, I love Rockland County, love it, and I just don't know if we get like that kind of ugliness goes further. So it could be black people one minute, you could be like yelling at other kids who have physical disabilities or yelling at kids who have acne. It's like when we accept that kind of behavior and we don't say something about it or come out against it, it just opens the door for like, I didn't know that had happened to you, Leslie, I'm so sorry. Like, I would just be so mortified if that happened to my son on the street, or my granddaughter who was in, Nyack Elementary School, if something like that had happened to her. It's just traumatizing and difficult. And as someone who's lived here, I love living here, but it would be one of the things that would have me consider moving. If we can't get our act together and figure out how to live together. And we do that by providing leadership to our young people, that it's not acceptable. You don't have to like everybody, but it's not appropriate to yell at people. I can't do that at my job and think that I'm gonna keep being employed. So why is that okay? So I just would, it impacts people when we allow that and we don't provide leadership. So I would just, want to support any efforts to provide additional education on how divisive, all this stuff is. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. You did great for a first time.
I was really
You
nervous.
did. You did great. You did great.
And by the way, I may be back, but on a different topic. I am an avid gardener, and I have a huge thing about invasive plants, and it is not acceptable. So now that I am the Japanese bamboo, not happening for me. So I'll be back.
From turtles to bamboo. I don't know. Okay, is anyone here who hasn't?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Rowie Ronan, and I live in South Nyack, and I attend Nyack High School. I just wanted to address the issue that she just talked about, of the spread that I've noticed of hate and racism throughout Rockland County. I played on the basketball team this year, and while I wasn't at the game where the event happened, I saw how it affected all of my teammates and my friends, not only on the court or in school, but I saw how it affected their self-esteem and their personal lives. And I think that by not doing anything, you are letting this behavior continue. And while I don't think it is a solution, I think that one big step would be prohibiting Pearl River from participating in sports for I don't know how long, but as long as it takes for them to understand that this behavior isn't acceptable. And yeah.
How old are you?
I just turned 18.
18. Very good.
Yeah, that's
Thank
all I
you.
have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that, well, I'll speak for myself, that all of us have spoken out at different points and different places. I would just say to that, having a child, had 2 children that graduated from Pearl River. My daughter ran track in Pearl River from the time she was in middle school, and she's a good student, she's a great kid, she worked hard. I don't know how we would say we're going to ban all sports, that you're going to take down those good kids with the bad ones. No one's, condoning it. I'm just, again, it's irrelevant to what we can do because we can't stop the sports. We have no say over the school district, but just as a mom, I don't think tearing down all the sports, all the kids, because of 1 or 2 or 5 kids, is appropriate. But just because I like you, I'll let you real quick. Well, I'm not going to, there's certainly a lot of things that should be done. As far as I know, we're done, but again, we don't, we have no control over the school board. I did speak with the school superintendent, but, if that's, things were done, and I'll leave it at that for now. But I just, okay. Thank you. And that's part of the problem, is that it becomes a swipe against the whole community. And I've lived in Pearl River a long time, and I've raised 2 great children who, are as offended and disgusted by it as anybody else. So we can't say with one swipe it's Pearl River. I won't accept that, but that's because I've lived there for 25 years. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming out tonight, but, my daughter is in 8th grade. She runs track for Pearl River. She also plays soccer, and, the sports, and she's a good kid. She studies hard, and I don't want her hanging out. I want her involved in these sports because there's so many things that can go wrong with drugs and fentanyl and all that. Kids who act out and say offensive things should be dealt with by the school district, or if it's something where it's a criminal, the police. But at the end of the day, you can't have all these kids, not allowed to be able to participate in sports and just get into bad things. Idle hands are the devil's work. You can't let them not be busy and do these activities. It's just something they need. But the bad apples should be thrown out.
Okay. Is it, yes,
Hi, my name's Jessica Kesselman. I live in Orangeburg. I'm going to try not to get emotional. I think the commonality over everything that we've heard tonight in these recent comments is about who we are as Orangetown. It has been difficult for me to live in a town that is divided into, let's say, school districts, for lack of a better way of describing it. And we are a diverse Orangetown. So when one district, or if there are incidents that are involved in one district, what we heard tonight from Leslie's comment all the way through to the young man's comment is there is a pervasive element. It's not just about sports. It's not just about a woman who doesn't feel like her son is safe walking down the street because of the color of his skin. I can point to, anti-Semitic incidents from when my kids were younger. What's missing is the dialogue. What's missing is a unification, some kind of effort that comes from our town, comes from our leadership, that's about all of Orangetown. Yes, Nyack and Pearl River are two different places. They're all very special places, and they mean a lot to people. And we should be celebrating that. But we have one school district that has done a lot of work around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And a lot of us feel like we were also attacked for that work in the most recent school board election. Then we have another school district that doesn't have that same work going on, and there have been racial incidents and homophobic incidents in that school district. So here we have one school district that's making strides, and one school district that's saying, you know what, we need to make some strides. And it's an opportunity, it's a really great opportunity for Orangetown. And I think what we're hearing tonight is a lack of leadership, to use your words, from our town that will celebrate the best of what all of the different parts of our town, our community have to offer each other. And it's just really frustrating because it just feels like every time some of us are making advancements for all of us, we get knocked back down for advancements for some of us. And that's just me off the cuff, and I really do look forward to working with everyone and being more involved. And the most recent school board election really brought a lot of us together to want to be constructive and move forward. And I love the idea of finding spaces for us to communicate and to celebrate. And that's, the optimism in me. So I just wanted to say, I think all of these comments are connected. And so thank you for listening. I really do appreciate the time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wants to speak? Okay. Get a motion to close?
I'll second that.
Jerry made a motion.
I'll second.
I heard three of them seconded, so pick who you want. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'll just, to the last speaker. And as a town supervisor, I think at one point I actually talked about having children, that all of the villages and the hamlets are very different in their own way, and each is respected in their own way. It gets a little difficult when we're up here, when it's a school board, we have absolutely no control over it or whatever. Now, to the extent this board can, help, I think we're open to it. I know when these incidents happen, like I said, I spoke to the superintendent of schools. He told me what he was doing. I spoke with different members in the community from the NAACP, to make sure that they were involved, and they were. I recently had a conversation with a mother, which is what made me think of this, at an event, who is actually doing something in the school district, forming groups or whatever. Again, because I happen to know her, and she was involved in something at the town, I wouldn't even know about it per se. So I think it's finding our role. I think we want to help everyone up here. Obviously, 100% wants to help. It's finding out how we can, especially when it comes to the schools. Now, sure, outside of the schools, we're open. I'm open for, whatever we can do. Honestly, I think the schools need to figure out ways to, like you said, get the kids to get to know each other. I actually, when I was running for office, I said sometimes during the campaign, you go into the village, which is a different, overwhelming in a different party, and sometimes I felt a little hostile. It was probably me. It wasn't the people around me, but it was like I felt a hostility, like, so anyway, we have to break that. And whether it's the person that's feeling the hostility that's not really there or whatever, we need to find ways to break it. So Again, my door's open if I can help in any way. Well, you know, we're looking, maybe speak to what other towns are doing to see if they have suggestions. But again, when it comes to the schools, it's just we're kind of the outsider poking in where I don't necessarily know that they want us. But the superintendents have always been great when things happen to speak to me. But it's usually when I'm reaching out to be like, you know, what's happening and offer my help if I can. But anyway, but thank you for bringing that all to our attention. And on that note, we have.
If I could just
Absolutely.
elaborate on that. Like Tom said, it's a few bad apples and they should be thrown out. I haven't experienced any of this. I hear it from, the news outlets and all this other stuff. I blame the parents. That's all I'll say, because these kids are ignorant and that's that. I'll leave it at that. I just needed to get that off my chest. Thank you.
Anybody?
I absolutely think it starts at home and it's disgraceful. And I apologize for our community for what happened to you and your son and to Nadia, because that should never happen. But it should never happen just because of the color of your skin. It shouldn't happen because of your religion. It shouldn't happen because of your political party or who you support in an election. And it happens too often. And it's lack of respect. And that respect should be taught first at home. And it's disgraceful what's going on in our country and in our town and in our community. And it all starts at home. I have 8 grandchildren in this school district. And if I think there's a better candidate for the school board, I'm going to support him. And I have a right to do that because my grandchildren go here, my children went here. So while people on the other side, like Tom Kleiner and Elijah, a state senator, came out and supported a candidate, there was nothing said about them, but there were comments directly pointed at me tonight. So that's where the respect is. See, the respect is mutual. It has to go both ways. And it doesn't always go both ways. It seems to be aimed one way a lot of the time. So I agree. And I think respect needs to be taught at home.
No, we've closed the public portion. I'm sorry. There's no more public comment. You're welcome to come to the next meeting and you have 3 minutes, but sorry, okay. You're more than welcome. Okay, so unless anybody else, we'll get onto the agenda. So 5, I guess we're pulling, right? Right, we're pull. 6, okay, can I get a motion to authorize the improvement with Candle for $30,000? Tom Divany, second.
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 7, approve the monthly rate increase with the garbage haulers, as indicated there, effective July 1, 2022.
I'll second. Aye.
I have no idea. Okay. You got it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Appoint T.P. Bailey. Is that really what it is, T.P. Bailey? Why does it sound funny? Okay. Okay. Oh, was she? She was here, she spoke one night. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. To the Orangetown Parks and Recreation Development Advisory Committee for a 1-year term. Tom Divany, move. Brian Donahue, second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Second. Award the bid to Fairway Testing for the SWIP compliance inspections and reporting for the new Town Hall addition. Motion? Jerry, move. Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Second seconded it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Brian, she spoke more on her first time here than you spoke the whole 6 months you've been on.
Not if you put all his seconds in together. Okay, appointing hearing officer related to an employee disciplinary matter. It's Judge Sherwood. So anyway, at $2.25 an hour. Motion? You may.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Number 11, approve the 2022 New York State Consolidated Funding application for the Water Quality Improvement Program for our MS4 vacuum truck replacement project. I don't even know what that means. Brian, go for it.
I'll make a motion.
All in
Thanks, Tom.
favor? Aye. Approve retainer agreement with Wilson Elser in the legal matter of Quinn versus the town. A motion? Joni's on a roll. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Settle a claim of Joseph B. Brown in the amount of $75,92. Come on, you're on a roll, Brian.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thanks,
All in
Tom.
favor?
Aye.
Approve, authorize the town attorney to sign settlement documents in the tax certiorari proceeding of Juniper Time. Is this the, oh, it says right there. Is this that hotel?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Does it say it right there?
Nilo, Nyack.
Yeah, Nyack LLC. Okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Brian, second?
Second.
Tom Dimini, all in favor?
Aye.
We should do the whole agenda that way. Parks and Rec, resolve that upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Parks and Recs, designate the following parks with a no smoking, Young Lungs at Play. That is the new South Nyack Parks, yes.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Authorize agreement with Greenfields Outdoor Fitness to upgrade the fitness equipment at Veterans Park. We got grant money for this, right? So, okay. Motion? Jerry beat you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
17, accept the retirement of Police Sergeant Schiller / Paulin, effective June 18th, 2022. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the school resource officer agreement with the South Orangetown Central School District for the 2022-2023 school year.
Yep.
Tom moved, Divany moved, second?
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Traffic Advisory Board approve an installation of a streetlight at the Omen parking lot exit on Old Orangeburg Road. Jerry Vittori move,
I'll
second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the purchase and install of security cameras at indoor and outdoor locations under the control of DME. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Sure.
Tom Divino, in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the Corvette Elks Club Father's Day Road Race.
I'll make a
Father's
motion.
Day. Brian, Donnie, move it, second? Jerry, you second? All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the final budget line adjustments based upon the recommendation of our finance director. Motion?
Yep.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Award the natural gas supply contract to Marathon Energy. Motion? Jerry Batari, second? I'll second it, what the heck. All in favor?
Aye.
On the audit? Make it quick, it was a very long night.
Yeah, make it.
Skip more than you usually skip.
What, anything for exec? Yeah, I gotta go.
We did have exec. Personnel,
I gotta get out of here.
Okay, the audit for tonight consists of 3 warrants for $2.1 million. First warrant had 25 vouchers, $211,000. Number 1 and 2, the applied golf contracts. Second warrant had 9 vouchers for $15,000 and was for utilities. Third warrant had 205 vouchers for $1.8 million. Number 4, Buyer Ford, $60,000 for Demi vehicles. Number 8, Ferraro Construction, $154,000 for Route 303 culvert project. Number 9, Goosetown, $28,000 for police leases. Number 10, Hudson Valley Engineering, $53,000 for North Middletown Road project. Number 11, Jack Doheny, $38,000 for sewer repairs. Number 18, Morano Brothers, $424,000 for the North Middletown Road project. That's bonded money. Number 20, Seal Coat USA, $75,000 for highway paving. And number 23, Verde Electric, $50,000 for traffic signal repairs. Any questions on the audit?
no. Motion to accept the audit?
Move.
Second. Jerry, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we do have an executive session to discuss personnel and land. What's that? Oh, okay, I was gonna get there, just wanted to say what we're gonna go to executive session for.
Yeah, it was a matter regarding employment.
Yeah, I said that. And wasn't there one about land use values? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna be going to executive session. We are not gonna come out and vote or anything else. We're adjourning tonight in memory of William Keene, a resident of Pearl River, and Glenn S. Lee, formerly of Pearl River. Okay. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Brian's gonna try and first and second it from now on. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, okay.